Hello, good afternoon. We are live. Let's talk about it. We are live. Okay, let's talk about it. What else are we going to talk about? The latest immigration news. The latest immigration news, we are going to be talking about it right now. The latest immigration news, we are going to be talking about it. Okay, I'm trying to share the screen first. Want to share the screen first. Okay. Anyway, so let me know in the comments where are you, how you feeling, what you're doing. We're just here to talk about the latest, okay? Latest immigration news. We got nothing else besides that. I want to share this in my on my like on social media before we get started. Okay, let's get right into it. What do we have today to talk about? Did you hear about this news? I thought it was fake, but it's actually not fake. Can you hear me? Let me know if you can hear me in the comments. There's something going on. Let me share my screen. I seriously thought it was fake, but it's not fake news. Okay, let's talk about it. Okay, let me share my screen. By the way, if you have a question, just please put it in the comment section. We are going to be talking about the latest immigration news. Just let me know what you think about what's going on, and let me know if you have a question you want me to answer. Just let me know in the comment. Okay. Meanwhile, you can share. Hold on. Let me share my screen so you will know what I'm talking. Can you talk about the liberty of the habeas corpus? Okay. Let me habeas corpus. Okay, let me share first my screen about what's going on. Then we get back to that question. Okay. So, oh my gosh, I thought I had this here. Anyway, so let me stop because I feel like every time I try to open it, it's closing. But anyway, what's going on is that they're saying that this administration, what they're saying is that if a person is outside of the United States and they want to immigrate, okay, to come here either on immigrant, right? Immigrant petition, like you come to stay here. They are going to look into the house. And in order to get visa, they're going to check out whether or not the person is obese, meaning that if the person is overweight, they're going to deny the visa based on health concern and public charge. Technically, what they're saying is that if a person is obese, when they get here, they are going to be trying to get the health into the medical system or, healthcare system, and they're going to be a public charge. Then they want to get Medicare, Medicaid, and all those benefits. So that's why they want to just, in other words, just check your weight. Basically, that's what they're saying. I feel like this is strange. I've never heard such a thing before, to look at the weight of a person as a criteria for a visa. Yeah, but that's what they're trying to say. Basically, their reasoning is that they want the person not to use a healthcare system and become a public charge, like, those Medicaid, Medicare, those type of benefit. That's what they're saying. And I'm like, why would you? Anyway, I can't. But that's what the news is. It's actually big news. Um, let's see, habeas corpus. So, this person is talking about. Can you talk about the liberty of the habeas corpus? Right now, we're using it basically in federal. Let's say the person has been detained, right? And there's no way to get a bond because remember, arriving alien with the latest BIA decision, the arriving alien regarding of how long they've been living in the country cannot get the right to bond. So they can't get a bond and they can't be let out on bond. Basically, they just have to win whatever case they have pending in order to get out. Um, and then when does a bare corpus come into play? In those type of situation, they detain a person. Now you bring the action to a federal court for the federal judge to determine whether that detention is lawful or not. And sometimes it comes into play when a person has been detained for too long, past 6 months or even a year. They already have been ordered removed, but now it's like 6 months later, a year later, they can't remove the person. Yeah, we still have to go if ICE is not releasing the person and they're not removing the person. What do? Habeas corpus, right? You go to the judge in federal court and ask the judge to determine whether or not that detention is lawful under that particular person circumstances. So that's what it is. And nowadays, a lot of a lot of immigration lawyers are just using it because ICE is just detaining people like never before, like it's a competition or something. You know what I mean? Like that's when people are using that. Okay. Um. So let me see if we have another news here going on. The first question, Sila, Elias Sila. I hope I respond to your question, Maria La Cerda. If you have a follow-up question, just please put it in the comment section. Sila says, hello, USCIS sent my wife affirmative asylum case to court without hearing with USCIS. Is that a normal? She's on student visa F1. Okay. It could be normal. Your wife is on student visa, okay? Is the student visa still valid? If she overstayed her student visa, but in other words, if she's not going to school because she says she's going to come to school and now she's applying for asylum, USCIS can refer her case because of student student visa violations. Okay, they can refer the case, but most of the time it comes into play where a person get arrested for something else. I have several examples of this type of situation. There's a guy here actually in Maryland. He get arrested. Why? Because the guy's driving without a valid driver license. Basically, driving when the driver license is expired. Okay, get like pulled over by the police. They check the driver license. The driver license has already expired, which means the registration on the car too really pretty much has expired. And you get arrested because this is traffic violations. And then when they look at your status now, they see F1 asylum pending. Of course, they refer you directly to immigration court. Why? Because now you're under ICE jurisdiction because you got arrested for a traffic violation. They look at your status, you're not even in order, then you are in detention. Of course, the jurisdiction shifts is with USCIS. Okay, that's one of the scenario. Another scenario can be if the person uh, came to study, they didn't study, or they're applying for asylum late um, without a reason. Technically, USCIS can send the case to court because they're not going to basically give asylum because it's actually late, right? Now they send it to court for the judge to decide. So I don't know exactly what happened in your situation. Couple questions, follow-up questions. First one is your wife's visa still valid? Student visa still valid? Like the I-20 is still valid? Is is she still going to school? And why will she apply for asylum when she has a F1 valid? Question mark, right? So when USCIS look into those type of situation, then they can send the case to court because they don't feel like they should decide. It is normal. They can do that. They've done it before, even not under those specific policy. They've done it before under, under Biden administration, and now they're actually just doing it because they have the right to do it, right? Because USCIS, they give them some power of arrest, detention, all that. So if they look at the case, they don't feel like it's right. Yeah, of course they will refer it to court. So my question to you basically is, why did she apply for asylum when the F1 is still valid? It defeats the intention, right? Because student visa is a single intent. I come to study and then I'll go back, right? So now they're just really like going after whatever the person said. Okay. Do you have any other question? I'm trying to figure out if we have other news going on. 1 year while she got a status. Yeah, so basically the only reason why they're sending it now is just because they're saying that the person violated the student visa. They came to study, they should be studying. Why are they applying for asylum? And because USCIS doesn't want to be bothered with those type of cases, they refer it to court. Back in the days, they wouldn't do it because you just apply for asylum, just wait for your. Nowadays, they will basically just refer it to court because they feel like you came to study, you should have studied. Why are you violating your student visa? Go talk to the judge. And sometimes it's not because of that. Sometimes just the person get arrested for another crime, like the example I just said, traffic violations. Then of course the person can refer to go. Yeah, so that would be one of the reason. Okay. Says how long? Hold on. How long the green card renewal process? Thank you. How long is taking right now? I don't know. We just have to look online. Let's just check and see how long it's taking right now. Let's see. I-90 petition. That petition takes forever, but I don't know. Let's just check. 8 months. That's what it says online. It used to take too long. It says 8 months. I don't know. So it says 8 months. Is this a new YouTube platform? No, I'm just swimming on both. Like it's basically the same platform. It's basically if the person's not watching on their computer, then they can just watch on their cell phone. They have a different format for the cell phone. Yeah. Some people watch on their computer. Some people watch on TV. Uh, they connect the YouTube on their TV. Some people just on their phone. So that's why we have like yeah, it says hold on. Yeah, that's why it shows like that. I approved for your visa. I just received mine. Is it safe to travel? If you don't have this is the way you answer the this is the way you ask your case to know whether or not it's safe for you to travel domestically by plane. You look at your record. Do you have a removal order pending, like under your belt? Remove at some to some extent. If you have that, don't try that. Do you have criminal record? If you that either of those two, don't try it. Just because of the climate in which we find ourselves, you just don't want to be subject to avail yourself to the those authorities, because sometimes they don't understand the law. Because technically, if you have a U visa, it's almost like a deferred action. Not to mention the green card spending, the green card pending, if it's approved, it trumps the order of removal for U visa applicants. So, but they don't understand all those nuances. So you just don't want to, avail yourself to them and put yourself to that, be a subject of that. So if you have order of removal, like you've been order removed before, then the answer is simply no, don't try it. Criminal record, the answer is no. But if you don't have that, then yes, you can travel, provided that you have the federal ID, right? So for renewal, yes, it says 8 months. So in the system it says 8 months. I don't know I don't have anybody who applied for renewal of me, because people do it to themselves because it's easy. So, but in the system it says 8 months. So if you apply, they haven't sent it to you, maybe you should call them. Nope, nope, nope. Okay. Got it. Thank you. You're welcome. What is the difference between bona fide determination under U visa and defer action? Bona fide determination simply means that at least they feel like you qualify for the U visa, but it hasn't been approved yet, but they feel like you qualify. And based on that, they give you a work permit. Back in the day, they wouldn't if you give you a work permit based on that alone, but now it's a new policy, right? Under the policy came under Biden. Basically, with a bona fide letter, it looks like you qualify for the petition, and while the case is pending, and they give you a work permit. But once the U visa is approved, the actual petition is approved, you have an approval notice, then it's attached to a deferred action, which means you cannot be deported. It's basically a protection against deportation. So that's the difference. So yeah, it's almost like VAWA. When VAWA is approved, that's to it's a deferred action, protection against deportation. U visa, once it's approved, it becomes a deferred action, protection against deportation. The same thing with DACA. It's a deferred action, protection against deportation. SIG used to be like that once it's approved, but they remove it under Trump. Don't ask me why, but so they remove it as SIG. Now you really have to file for a deferred action to really beg USCIS if the SIG is approved. So, but again, that's just the nature of this immigration thing. That's how it just goes. But anyway, so we were talking about the latest immigration news. The first news is that if a person is outside of the United States, they want to travel here, immigrate here. Nowadays, what they're saying is that they're going to check off on their health overall. Overall, if the person looks obese or they are obese, they're not going to get a visa because that person may become a public charge. That's number one. Number two, we have TPS for South Sudan. It's South Sudan, I guess. Let me see which one exactly. Has been terminated, right? TPS for Sudan has been terminated. Let's see if it's South Sudan or just Sudan. I just want to make sure I'm giving the correct information. Okay. Yeah, South Sudan. TPS for South Sudan is terminated, but the work permit is valid until January 5th, 2026, right? Yeah, so it's basically the termination is effective January 5th, 2026, which means that if you're working under that type of work permit, it's still valid until next year, so at 2 months. Uh, yeah, what else we have here as that's everybody know, right? Like USCIS is taking only electronic form of payment. That's started at the end of last month. We already know that. Um, what else we have here? In Chicago, it's just like it's a mess. Yeah, pathologist plan to leave Chicago. In Chicago, it's just like it's not good over there as far as raids, enforcement, and yeah, it's just not going well. And the government shutdown is almost over, right? Yesterday they actually voted, but it has to go to the House. But it's almost, it was yesterday? Yeah, I believe so, right? But anyway, it's almost over. Thank God, because it just delays a lot of process, especially for labor certification and stuff like that. Yeah, but thank God. Let me see. Let me see on the USCIS website if we have something to share. Wow, USCIS is hiring. They received 35,000 application. Wow, interesting. The Kansas mayor faces voter fraud. Mm-mm-mm. USCIS enhances voter verification system. DHS ends automatic extension of employment authorization. That we know. Yeah, pretty much. Oh yeah, yeah. This is what I want to talk about too. The judge stopped. I guess the fees for asylum. There's a court order pausing the fees for asylum because I mean the litigation is ongoing. Um, but if you already pay, just I mean, if you already pay, just it's better because you don't know how it's gonna end anyway. Thanks. You're welcome. Anybody else? If you have a question, we don't really have a lot of news except for what's actually going on with Chicago. And if you know too, there's a pause on the fees, the asylum fee. Um, so those are the things that we're working on. If you already pay, that's just the nature of this job. But if you haven't paid, there's a pause on it. You just have to monitor the news and see when. Yeah, that's we're talking about USCIS fees, the $100 in your fees, something around those lines. Okay. So do we have anything else that you basically want to share, or just anything else as far as questions, concern? Somebody called me yesterday because they have to report to ICE. They're concerned about what am I supposed to do. Well, first thing, you have to, right? If you have to report, you have to, because the moment you don't do it, you break the law, you might be arrested, placed in detention, and that's gonna just complicate your right to a bond hearing. Okay, a bond can be denied based on that violation alone. So the simple thing is just first report, right? Then if something happens later, then that's when we think about what are we gonna do. But yeah, just, if you have to, just do it. That's just, it's a requirement. It's basically a condition of release, right? Okay, so I guess this is it. We don't have anything else. We're gonna stop here. Once we get anything else, we'll come back. Come back once we get anything new to share. If we don't have anything new to share, wait. Elena Jane Asher, do you have another additional question? I'm trying to wrap up. Go ahead. Why does some people have to hack in with eyes and other don't? Just depend on the conditions. Basically, why people do report. The simple answer is because they have some type of order of supervision. For example, the example will be a person was order removed, detained, and got released. And one of the conditions of that person being released is that you have to report with ICE. That's the condition of their release. So that's why they have to, because it's basically a condition of their release. Um, some people, they never, based on how they defended their case back in the day, they didn't have back in the day when they order you removed, they didn't do anything. They didn't come to your house, they didn't do anything unless you get arrested in the middle of the road for some unrelated crimes. Then but back in the day, a lot of people, they order you removed, you just stay, right? Nobody was coming to anybody's house. So that's why some people don't have those order of supervision. But with mm, a lot of people, if you look at the people who have order of supervision, it's basically people who came to the border, number one, because like illegal entry is breaking the law, right? And then when you don't win your asylum, and they can't really physically remove you, then they're going to give you some conditions. That's why you have to report. And some people don't even report because they're just afraid, but still, if ICE come to your house, they'll take you. So, yeah. So that's one of the reasons. Yeah, is that's why people going in court are being detained. Yes, they're being detained most of the time. If the information is accurate, you go to court and you don't win. Like you go and defend your asylum, you don't win. The judge order you remove, then they detain you because you've been ordered removed. So now you stay, and because most of the time, a lot of people, not all of them, but the majority of people who are in removal proceedings based on asylum are the people who are coming to the border. And once the judge orders a person removed, the person does not have the right to bond. So that's why they're getting detained, so that they can remove them. And they have to meet the quota. Remember, with this administration, they have to meet the quota too, right? So that's why they're detaining a lot of people. But if a person, let's say the person came with a visa, they go to court for their asylum, they don't win, even if they detain them, their lawyer can file for a bond hearing. They can be released on bond. But if you came to the border, nowadays you cannot. That's how habeas corpus come into play, right? So yeah, we're living in under a different time, So yeah, it's sad. That's just how it is nowadays. It's just that's why I'm telling somebody, why would you be driving with a license that is suspended? I'm like, why would you do that? You know your driver license is suspended and you're driving with a driver license that is suspended under this administration. Of course, you're going to jail. They don't care. You stay in detention and the bond hearing is going to be denied and your lawyer has to appeal. Good luck with that. So the one thing to do is just avoid it. Especially for things that a person can avoid under their control, they can avoid it. But people are just sometimes they don't listen. But anyway, so those are the news for today. Immigration arrest surge in Hawaii as federal agent target courthouse. Wow, even in Hawaii. Wow. Trump administration asks appeals court to block judge order. Oh my gosh, limiting immigration agent use of force in Chicago. Oh, what do we call immigration arrest? Yeah. Okay, this is it. We're done. Thank you very much. Please share. Please like. Please share. We are done for today. Once we get more news, we'll come back. But for now, we don't. We don't have it. That's why we're done. Until next time. Bye bye.